Hello and welcome. My name is Christina from Empowered Creator. I am a mindset and conscious manifesting teacher and coach, and this is my YouTube channel. Here I talk about all things law of assumption, mindset, conscious manifesting, the quantum universe, and a lot more. And my goal is to simplify everything without the fluff. So if you guys like this content and you would like to see more of it, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, comment on this video, like it, share it, and stick around. Also, if you need help with your specific situation, I offer one-on-one coaching as well as custom subliminals for whatever needs you may have. I also have some self-study courses about manifesting your specific person. And I do have a members-only channel with a lot of perks for members, including weekly live workshops with a different manifesting topic each week, weekly live group coaching, a lot of exclusive content, monthly challenges for a chance to win a free one-on-one session with me, and so on. So if you guys are interested in any of these services, the links are below in the description box. Click on them and they're going to take you to my website or to the membership channel. With all that being said, let's dive into today's video. In today's video, I want to discuss a little bit more with all of you guys who are on the journey of manifesting your specific person about the energy that you are projecting out towards your specific person and the energy that they subconsciously receive from you. All of this, of course, while you're manifesting them. And I want to go a little deeper today and explain a few things to you guys, just to illustrate the point of how important the energy that you project towards them is while you're manifesting them, and how this energy can be perceived, how this energy can manifest through them, and how it can truly make a difference and in fact make or break your manifesting. So this is what I'll be discussing in today's video. Stay tuned. So if you've been watching my channel for some amount of time, especially if you've been watching my specific person videos, I'm sure that you will have heard me multiple times talk about how important it is not to obsess over your specific person, how important it is to lose the desperation and the clinginess towards that manifestation of your specific person. In other words, yes, you can absolutely want them all you want, but if you feel that you need them for your happiness, if you feel that you need them to feel whole and complete, if you are obsessed, if you are desperate, that usually brings the opposite results. And I wanted to go a little deeper today to explain to you guys and give to you some examples on why this is the case, how this is the case, how this manifests on your person, that is the energy that you're putting out towards them, and how it actually makes a big difference one way or another towards what you manifest and how they show up in your reality. And I want to give you guys today a couple of specific examples from my personal experience, from my own life, to show you how I received and how I perceived other people's energy towards me and how that influenced how I showed up towards them. And while I don't think these people were actually consciously manifesting me, actually I'm pretty sure they were not consciously manifesting me, they were still projecting a very specific energy towards me that had a very specific impact on me and which 100% influenced how I was showing up towards them. What I was thinking of them, how I was feeling towards them, and what version of me they got to see, what version of me they got to manifest, even though in this case it was unconsciously. So the first example that comes to mind is from a past romantic relationship that I had when I was in my late teens, early 20s. And that was a guy who actually broke up with me first, but then when my energy changed and I decided that I wanted to move on, he ended up chasing me. He ended up running after me, begging me for a second chance, and so on. And that, you guys, lasted for about 6 months. And throughout those 6 months, I can tell you that the more he insisted in chasing me, the more he developed that desperate energy and that obsession to have me and to be back together with me and for me to give him what he wanted, the more repelled I would become. And knowing what I know now about the law and about how energies interact and how one person's energy feeds into the other person's energy and so on, I can tell you that it wasn't actually what he was doing, because all the things that he was doing were very nice things. I would get flowers from him, he would write poems. One time he brought me a CD with love songs and this and that. It was actually the energy from which all of this was happening. It was an energy of, I'm trying to convince you because I'm so desperate to be with you, I'm so obsessed with you, that I'm trying to convince you, and in a way I'm trying to force you to change your mind about me. And all of this, you guys, that energy, that kind of energy was extremely repelling. It wasn't the actual gestures. The actual gestures were very nice. If they had been done from a different point of view, from a different mindset, from a different perspective on his end, a perspective of, let me show you how much I admire you. Let me show you how much I like you. Let me show you what I feel about you. A more pure energy, an energy of, I'm just pursuing you in a nice way, just because I really like you, just because I want to get to know you more. Of course, in our case, we were exes, so we had been together before. But an energy of, I really value you, I really like you for who you are, and let's try to be together, something along these lines, as opposed to an energy of, I'm obsessed, I'm desperate, I'm looking to get something out of you, and essentially I'm looking to force my desired outcome out of you. Then my feelings and how I showed up and my receptivity to that would have been very, very different, I'm sure. But because the whole energy and even all those amazing gestures were coming from a place of desperation, a place of obsession, and a place of trying to manipulate the 3D and force an outcome, I would become more and more repelled. Long story short, we never ended up getting back together. And I believe that the outcome could have been completely different had his energy come from a very different perspective, from a very different point of view, from a very different energy. The second example that comes to mind is with a non-romantic person in my life. It's actually with a friend I have, a female friend, who I've known for many, many years. We actually kind of grew up together because we grew up in the same neighborhood, so we would play a lot as children. We were very close in age, we lived close together, and so we kind of grew up together, although she was never my best friend, but she was one of the people who lived close to me and who I would see fairly often. So as we were growing up, and especially after our teenage years and in our early adult years, and also in later years as well, I'm not going to go into very much detail, but let's say that this girl grew very, very attached to me, but in an unhealthy way. I'm talking about her bombarding me with messages, with texts, multiple times a day, every single day. Always needing this from me, always asking my opinion on this, on that, always wanting something from me, always asking something, and it was very, very clear and very, very easy to see that it wasn't actually what she wanted. It wasn't actually that she needed something from me. It wasn't that she had genuine questions. It was just her trying to keep in touch with me. But again, doing it from a desperate, obsessed state. From a state of, I'm trying to get something out of you. From a state of, I'm using you to fill a void within me. And that kind of energy, you guys, is very clearly felt from the other person, even if it's on a subconscious level. And once again, it is very, very repelling. Whether it's about a specific person, a romantic specific person, a friend, a coworker, I don't care who it is. Obsessed and desperate energy is received not favorably from the other side. It feels suffocating. It feels overwhelming. It feels restrictive. It doesn't feel pure. It doesn't feel genuine. It doesn't feel good. And you don't want to be around that person. So what ended up happening is that at some point, I had to start ignoring this girl because I was so fed up, I was so sick, I was so overwhelmed by this constant bombarding of communication, this constant dumping of her needs on me, that I had to back off at some point and I had to set some boundaries. And of course, there was some drama with that, there was some backlash, there were a lot of dramatic messages and so on. I'm not going to go into very much detail, but I stuck to my decision to back off because I just couldn't take that energy. That was not something I wanted or needed in my life. That obsessed, desperate energy coming my way and being dumped on me. Now, here's the interesting part with that girl. At some point, eventually, she started developing a life of her own. She started taking on some hobbies. She started making new friends. She started going out more. She started being not so totally reliant on me to fill her voids and to fulfill her needs, whatever those needs might have been. And after she did that for a while, her entire energy towards me changed for the better. Her energy was no longer that desperate. Her energy was no longer that obsessed and that clingy. The energy I started receiving from her was more genuine. She wasn't bombarding me with so many messages and so many needs anymore. And the impact that had on me, that improvement in her energy, that energy shift within her, had a favorable impact on me because I started seeing her in a more favorable light again. I started being more responsive to her messages and her texts. I started being more receptive towards her. I started giving her more of what she had wanted from me all along. Why? Because she changed her energy towards me. I received it subconsciously and consciously. I noticed the difference. It felt very refreshing. And now I was ready, because of that shift in her, to show up as a different, better version of myself towards her. And so you guys, I hope that you take these two examples I just gave from my personal life, from my personal experience, and realize that it's exactly the same way with your specific person. Desperate energy, needy energy, obsessed energy always creates an unfavorable vibe to the other person, and the other person does not feel that they want to give you what you want, they don't want to be around you so much, if at all, they feel repelled by that energy, they feel restricted, they feel overwhelmed. You get the gist. Once you shift your energy, on the other hand, your person also receives that. And they also notice the difference, if not on a conscious level, at the very least on a subconscious level, and they start seeing you more favorably. They start molding themselves as a response to your energy shift into a different version of themselves that actually is much more receptive and much more responsive to you, and much better, much more favorable in how they show up in your life. So this is why, you guys, I am so adamant talking about not being obsessed, not being desperate, losing all those feelings, getting out of those states. I hope that these two examples I gave you, and I have many more by the way, illustrate the point very well and give you actual tangible examples of how the other side, the other person feels when you are in your obsessed, desperate, clingy, graspy energy, and so on. So always remember, you guys, your SP can feel you. Your SP is receiving your energy subconsciously 24/7. Adjust that energy accordingly, be the best version of yourself that you can be, and your specific person is going to adjust accordingly on their end and show up very differently for you in your reality. With all that being said, I'm going to wrap up this video here. I intend that this has helped. As always, I very much appreciate you guys being on this channel, watching this content. I love making this content for you. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all at the next video. Until then, take care and bye-bye.